We have made it, well, almost, but pretty much we've made it. March Madness is exactly 1 week away, at least, the round of 64 is 1 week away. And with me to help get us ready for it, as always, is my friend and co-host, Raider Jim Martinez. You can find Mr. Martinez at Raider Jim 1090. How you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Still riding the high from Tuesday night and enjoying it. Looking forward now to Selection Sunday to see where the Zag's going to line up. This is one of our favorite times of year, you and me. So this is just great, a great week.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet because normally we're going into the dance together. We might get separated once we get in the halls, but we're both at the dance one way or another. And again, 2:18 left according to Google. San Diego State down 7 in what I believe is a elimination game, essentially, for either San Diego State or Boise. But we'll get to all that momentarily. When we talk San Diego State, we'll let that one, hopefully turn or finish one way or another. But as I mentioned, before we get into all that, we're building up the field of 68, I should say. And one main thing that I've always loved is the low major tournaments. Most of these kids, this is probably the last time they're ever going to be on a basketball court. And just going through some of these teams, I think I counted 13 teams have already punched their ticket into the dance. Just go through them here real quick. The Atlantic Sun, Lipscomb, 25-9. They are through. Montana wins the Big Sky. High Point takes down the Big South, 29-5. Interesting there. High Point, a low conference power. In the CAA, UNC Wilmington took down Delaware. Delaware, I think, was the 11 seed in that and got to the final, but UNC Wilmington did take care of business. Robert Morris wins the Horizon, 26-8. Drake at 30-3. We've talked about them a few weeks back when we talked about the Missouri Valley. They handled their business. They are heading into the tournament at 30-3. We always get one of these a year, but out of the Northeast, it's St. Francis of Pennsylvania. They are 16-17. But you know what? If you perform in those 3 or 4 days in your conference tournament, it doesn't matter what happened the last 4 months. You're getting your ticket punched. They're going to be going to Dayton. They will be one of the 16 seeds that will have to play for their right to play on Thursday or Friday. So best of luck to them. Out of the OVC, Southern Illinois of Edwardsville, they are 22-11. They are heading to the tournament. The Patriot, that ticket goes to the American, 22-12 for American University. Southern Conference goes to Wofford, 19-15. Definitely probably another team we'll see in the play-in games, but Wofford is a team that has always seems to be in this tournament coming out of the SoCon. Out of the Southland, McNeese State, Will Wade's back at it. Hopefully doing it clean this time. We'll see. 27-6 for McNeese State. I think they just go by McNeese now. That'll be a habit I got to drop. Out of the Summit, Omaha of Nebraska, 22-12. The Sun Belt goes to Troy, and of course, we'll get to it momentarily, but out of the West Coast, kind of the technically, yes, a low major conference, but Gonzaga certainly anything but. There it is, the West Coast Conference champions, the Gonzaga Bulldogs out of the West Coast Conference. Raider Jim, obviously you that last one catches your eye, but kind of the question I posed here, do you see any possible Cinderellas out of this group?
Actually, I do. I actually watched the Drake game the other night, and let me tell you, those boys are legit. They are a team that I think could make a run. They could be, this is not apples to apples comparison, but I'm saying when Grand Canyon all of a sudden made a move a couple of years back, you can see the same thing here. And this is all, again, as we've been saying week in and week out, this all goes down to how are your transfers playing? How did you do in the portal? It's kind of like the free agency thing now. How did you do in free agent season? And they have done very, very well. you got it. There's 13 teams that are going to go in. This Bennett Sturts kid is something else. And he and Tavion Banks, his counterpart there in the backcourt, wow, they really just led the charge. And then they also have the sophomore, Cam Maniawu. He's leading them with the rebounds all season long. And then they've got this graduate student kind of under the radar. He gets his minutes in, but he is a graduate student. Mitch Mascari. This kid's a thief. He gets out there and he steals 4 or 5 a game, and it's not uncommon for him to do that. But why is it all working for them, and why do they have the team that they do and the potential? It all goes down to Coach Ben McCollum. And I think that he's got it dialed in. He's got them dialed in. Focus, focus, focus. Definitely they're going to win their first round game. It's interesting because, they do these different these prognosticators like you and me, but some of them actually get paid to do it. And the bracket that I see, where was it? Oh my goodness, it was silliness. They actually had Drake lined up so that they were going to end up playing like Duke or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
Or San Diego State. And it's like, man, that would just, but we'll see what really happens. I don't think they're going to get seeded that low. They're not going to get seeded that high. They're probably going to get maybe a 12, something like that.
I think
but
12.
Congratulations. Yeah, and congratulations to them. I mean, you might want to interrupt this and check the scoreboard.
Oh, fair enough. You shall continue. Oh, yeah. All right, then. Fair enough. Dun, dun, dun. The trumpets are playing. But yeah, very, very interesting out of this. Obviously, I think McNeese and Drake, and I'm taking Gonzaga out of this because 20 years ago, Gonzaga was a Cinderella. Had to list them here for posterity's sake. But even if St. Mary's had taken the job, they would be considered a Cinderella. But the one other team that does jump out to me as a possible Cinderella, and a lot of this is going to come down to where they're seeded. Because look, if this team gets a 16 seed, then okay, maybe not. Even a 15 seed. I'm thinking this might be one of those 14-3, and that's Robert Morris. I watched their game in the Horizon Championship. And the one thing about Robert Morris, I get confused, obviously. I mean, I think the other day I still thought, Rutgers was in the ACC or something, and it's like, that's been 10 years they've been in the Big Ten. But anyways, so much movement. Well, it trickles down. And to see Robert Morris in the Horizon League, it was kind of shocking to me just because, I mean, they were a power in the Northeast Conference where they were, again, they were that team that was the perennial 16 seed that came out of that conference. But the one thing that jumps out to me, to be a Cinderella, you need a senior-laden team and you need a senior guard. And Cam Woods is that guy. 15 points a game, 5 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. He's a fantastic leader of this team, and I think he might be the difference. Now, the one kind of caveat I will have to that, normally when we talk about these teams that go deep, or these Cinderellas essentially that have the seniors, it's a lot of they've been here all 4 years. In the new day and age, that's not the case, and Cam Woods is kind of the poster child, or at least one of them for it. I mean, this is his 4th different team in 4 years. But the one thing I will say, where was he last year? Now, he wasn't getting a ton of minutes, but he played for NC State. And you want to talk about a Cinderella. NC State is at least as a power school going all the way, I mean, to the Elite Eight. Was it the Final Four? My memory is terrible year in to year out, but they had an incredible run last year, even all the way through the ACC tournament, because they had to win their tournament to get in. But anyways, I do think Robert Morris has a chance if they are a 14 seed and they get a team that, who knows, maybe had a bad week or something like that. I don't have the thoughts off the top of my head, but I think Robert Morris can definitely be a team you got to keep an eye on. Might break some brackets if they're seated in a favorable position. So keep an eye on that.
The only thing about Drake, and one more comment on Drake.
Yeah.
The hard for them to make that run will be they are undersized. They're not a big team. Cam Maniawu is I think 6'8", and that's their big guy in the middle. And he's a sophomore. So between young and small, they could get pushed around depending on who they go up against.
And I think that's the other part of it too, kind of what I was talking about with Robert Morris. A lot of this is the matchup. If you get put up against, Kansas or something like that, and Drake probably, although 6'11", 12'5", that's actually, I don't think that would be great, because as much as I've been ho-hum on Hunter Dickinson, I do think he can take care of somebody who is 6'8", and I think he can kind of put his best foot forward. But you're right. Might be best to kind of go up against a 3-guard set, a St. John's or something like that, although that wouldn't even work for them because of the seating. But anyways,